Fuck 'em! Fuck
Sweet.
'em! Fuck 'em! Fuck 'em! Fuck 'em! Fuck 'em! Fuck 'em!
Yeah.
Fuck 'em! Fuck 'em!
4 more years.
Fuck 'em!
4 more years.
Fuck 'em!
This guy rules. Who was that? Who was that totally awesome badass guy again? Richard Milhouse Thrillhouse Nixon? Ah, wonderful. I love him. I think I'll write him in on this year's ballot. Media literacy isn't real. There's no such thing. It never happened. There's always the question of media literacy with people. People on Twitter always bringing it up like it's some kind of real thing. It isn't. It's basically their canned response to when they don't realize they're being made fun of. Usually when somebody on Twitter is talking about how much they love the Homelander from The Boys or something like that. And it's like, you're supposed to hate them. They're the bad guys. So any person who either pretends or even is sincerely a fan of Homelander saying outrageous things suddenly gets hit with the no, you don't have media literacy. It's sort of like the art is subjective argument from people who defend things that are dumb or not very good. The latest example out of a very long line of examples is Starship Troopers. Somebody on Twitter, as usual, Twitter X, whatever you want. I have a feeling it's going to go back to being called Twitter eventually, but whatever. I could be wrong about that. But somebody on Twitter X saying my favorite part of Starship Troopers discourse is they'll watch the scene of the military scientist torturing, killing an intelligent life form. First of all, wrong even in the movie version, but whose territory we invaded, again, also wrong in the movie version. Screaming in agony and still not get that Starship Troopers is a satire of fascism. Here is Tilo on Twitter saying, whose territory invaded? Nah, a group of Mormon settlers set up a colony on the border of Arachnid space, which the Federation warned against. The Arachnid response was to throw multiple asteroids at Earth in retaliation. There's more we could go into, but I think we will. I wanted to cover just a lot of reaction to this in general, which is in response to the whole concept of media literacy. It's funny because they call it media literacy as in, no, you're supposed to realize, they say you have bad media literacy or you don't have media literacy if you support the Starship Troopers military or if you support Homelander, stuff like that. When in fact, right here is proof that they themselves don't have media literacy, saying that an intelligent life form, the bugs weren't intelligent, the brain bugs were intelligent, the actual bugs were not intelligent at all, and that we invaded their territory. Getting into, whoa, holy shit, that's right. If you didn't know, Tilo is a nice artist who drew some stuff, including Princess High Ground. If you want to check it out, check out one of the links below in the description to King Wolf Comics. You can buy the Princess High Ground book, which includes some of Tilo's fan art as well. It's delightful. So I replied also, who is to blame? 1, the bugs. 2, Mormons, who certainly don't get enough of the blame for anything. Who isn't to blame? Earth and Buenos Aires. If you're from Buenos Aires, you may have some strongly worded comments to direct towards the bugs. Here's another reply, several reply. He made a thread, but specifically, he says, Tilo says, so for as much as people like to call Starship Troopers a satire of fascism, it certainly tries, but the war against the bugs is absolutely justified. The bugs see humanity as an enemy and will throw asteroids until all of humanity is gone. And I chose this to reply to. Oh, this is a nice comment. Hey, is there something in the upper right here above the pill? I don't know. Do you see anything up there? I don't know. Whatever. You know what? Who knows? Here's Malin Thorne saying, you chud, that's right, you are the cause of all fascism in the universe because you're anti-fictional CGI bug. This wasn't even in reply to anything at all. He just decided to post this. Anyone who hasn't been called flashiest on Twitter has been a shoegazing wallflower. And a picture of this also cool person. I mean, just look at these guys like him also. It's pretty cool. Here is also someone else, literally someone else, replied to Tilo, saying they're also definitely not intelligent. The brain bugs are. Yeah, as I pointed that out though because of course my brother said this. My brother said this. The brain bugs are, and they are the only ones. And the brain bugs would be the ones deciding to genocide all humans based on a minor and peaceful human presence. Well, gee, who would have thought? Here's the now. If you want some actual literacy, actual media literacy, Starship Troopers, the entire book. There's actually multiple different full book readings of Starship Troopers. Is it 8 hours? They're all about 8 hours or so, which is not really that long, to be honest. I mean, if you listen to a few hours at a time, keep your place. There are ways to do that. Right-click on the video whenever you stop and want to continue. Just get a link to the time code and paste it to yourself somehow. You can do that. Here's Daka saying the best thing about Starship Troopers discourse. Whoa. Is that nobody on the left read the book to have actual media literacy. It's such a good book and setting. It felts the movie's attempt to subvert it. Let's go, felt it, etc. And I even linked to the book. Is that wrong to do that? I don't know. But you can certainly listen to that. Guys will see the scene in a movie and think, hell yeah.
Shoot.
Oh. Not just this, of course. It's more specifically this. Yeah, sweet. The CGI bugs still look really good. Also like the part... Here's the funny thing is that it's like, yeah, sweet, blast the bugs, and then human guy gets his head chopped off, and still, yeah, sweet. Because, again, the movie is giant action flick. Yeah, this is also in reply. Just, yes, the masculine daydream where you stay behind to hold off pursuing force while your loved ones escape. Actual screenshot from Into the Radius 2. Oh, wait. I don't know. Are you Terran Federation American or Arachnid American? You know how I feel about arachnids. I'm not a fan. Here also, there's just another post that was like a day later, I think. That entire discourse around Starship Troopers and the Buenos Aires meteor taught me that a lot of people really need to learn how stories do and do not imply certain things. This is an interesting point because I did see a couple people post that where Klendathu, the bugs planet, their home planet specifically, they had other planets, of course, but in general, the system was literally on the other side of the galaxy, which means it would take hundreds of millions of years for them to just toss a meteor. Therefore, people saying as he points out here, the argumentation that the meteor was a false flag or natural disaster is an interesting take. When he says false flag, he means the original term false flag, as in when a country attacks itself to create a false flag attack is what the original term originally meant. I was going to say the USS Liberty, but that doesn't count. The USS Cole, I think, was the one. The Reichstag fire, stuff like that. He says, on the same level as arguing that the physics of Starkiller based on Star Wars doesn't make sense going by the real world. In universe, no good reason to doubt the premise is given, stated, or shown. If it were, it would become a valid plot point the story could move forward with. A lot of what I see is you're not supposed to believe it, which goes against how we engage with media. What he's really talking about is that movies never understand that Bug Planet throws a meteor or asteroid. In this case, it was really more of an asteroid. A meteor is usually ice and stuff, and it just sort of flies and leaves a trail and all that stuff. It's clearly more of an asteroid. Movies tend to never get the science of that right, and it's important to trust the science, isn't it? But they don't understand that, it would take hundreds of millions of years for even the light reflecting off of the asteroid to become visible on Earth, that kind of stuff. Movies never go through that. They never get it right. They never really kind of get to the point of that, because usually that interrupts the story. It's a detriment to the storytelling, unless the story is specifically about something like that. And you would have to inform the audience of that, which means bring the story to a screeching halt to explain something that's happening in the story you're supposed to be telling. So again, it's pretty obvious that in the movie Starship Troopers, the bugs threw an asteroid at Earth, just straight up did, and the only way to imply that Earth either threw the asteroid at itself to justify a war, or that it was a completely random natural disaster, is if something in the movie hinted at that. There would have to be even a hint, an offhanded message, a throwaway line, even an Easter egg or a background detail that hints at that. There's nothing like that in the movie. You are supposed to just think, well, the bugs threw a fucking asteroid. Even if you think, it's like, the bugs are actually the good guys, they're torturing them, the bugs still threw the asteroid in the movie. You actually have bad media literacy if you think that the bugs were the good guys or it was a false flag attack. In fact, that's the only time that media literacy comes close to existing as a concept, which again, it doesn't. The reality of media literacy, especially in this case, is mostly just trolls. We'll get to that in a minute, though. I like these comments, though, because again, he's going over the reality, basically what I said. I also said it just as long. Could have just read his tweets, but when a story tells you something, the idea is that you, as the observer, buy into what it tells you, even if it makes no sense by real world standards. It might make sense there, or maybe it just works differently. When the story contradicts itself, however, the question arises if there's an internal reason for that, there's more going on than initially sown, or the writer made a mistake. It's up to the story to then create clarity, however subtly it wants to do. Again, throwaway line, Easter egg even. Easter egg is a terrible way to communicate that idea, though. A throwaway line, not very good either, but can still ultimately work. Usually a throwaway line, that's really just a patch for a plot hole, which is kind of what this is, but also he mentions here a meteor. He calls it a meteor. There's not really an important distinction that much between a meteor and an asteroid, aside from the technical, literal distinction. So it doesn't matter that anyone calls it a meteor, or even that I call, because it could be a meteor, and I'm getting that wrong. But again, meteors are usually ice, whereas an asteroid is usually rock, iron, metal, delightful metals. It could be useful. Maybe they were just sending a gift. What if see, that's the thing. Now you can add that to the discourse. Hey, the bugs were trying to send humanity a gift, and lots of free iron, nickel, could have been like some copper in there too, perhaps. How come we didn't accept the gift? But he says, in Starship Troopers, the premise is the meteor hitting Buenos Aires was sent right past the galactic core is absurd from a real world perspective. Yeah, that was the thing. Somebody posted a map of Klendathu. In the middle is the galactic core, the center of our galaxy. And then on the other side of the galaxy is Earth, where the asteroid hit. He says, much like Starkiller Base being able to hit multiple planets with giant lasers thousands of light years away. These stories only work if we accept that the real world physics don't apply, if only for narrative or dramatic purposes. And when we do apply real world physics, you have to either conclude the story is hiding something or the writers don't understand how utterly vast space is. If you want something that's more realistic about that, Star Trek, or The Expanse. The Expanse, certainly. The Expanse doesn't even have faster than light travel. So mostly The Expanse is about, like the interplanetary coal miners, essentially, or ice miners, and how they have it rough. And so therefore this and that stuff, and it's, it's all very political. We won't get into that discourse. I do like The Expanse. I thought it was a good show. They certainly canceled it wrong. I don't even know if it's canceled, but again, other topic. He says, so where Star Wars fans have offered a simplistic defense of it's a film about space wizards for children, I offer the simple defense for Starship Troopers. It's an action movie about space marines by an illiterate Dutchman. Perhaps a flying Dutchman? Here also the meteor being a false flag. I read that. I read this one too. I opened all of these just in case. Here's a tweet that I also just said. People who talk about media literacy deserve to have imposter syndrome. Yeah, take that. I went there. That's right. Easiest trap on the internet is getting mad at people who intentionally take the villain side in any media just to make people mad. It's like people never learned what a troll is. I think people need to gain some troll literacy, perhaps. That's just my opinion. Here's also another thing, just making the same point ultimately. I love democracy, but instead intentional media illiteracy performed entirely to annoy dweebs on the internet. You ever just post something on the stupid fucking internet? Daka, it really does feel good to see communists sympathize with literal insects that have no brains other than what the hive mind tells them. Here's a nice reaction gif. Here also, media literacy, Nazis, bad, doing a space racism, doing a propaganda, that might be even worse. Doing a militarism, oh boy. And of course, militarism just comes from those other things. Meanwhile, for some reason though, this says brown people? Is that what this is? You know what? Perhaps. I mean, that's the media literacy, though. See, it's you, the plebeian Monday normie. You don't understand. You don't have media literacy to understand what the bugs actually represent. Being ugly and disgusting, wholesome. Oh, that actually sounds nice. Doing an anti-colonialism and doing communism. I mean, that part is true. The bugs are doing communism. Is that what it comes down to? I guess so. ER saying, the more video essays you watch, the more media literate you are. Again, I think all of this, there's a lot of reaction. I think ER actually does follow either Daka or Manlet Thorn, or both of them, as he should, as anyone on Twitch should. I threw this in, of course, one of my favorites. Also, Turkish Thomas, different one. Turkoy Tomas. The insert community degenerates. Some fucking numbers. Apparently he's why is he crying and mad about losers, creeps, and pedos? At the same time, maybe it's the combination of all those things. That's not good. Here's also somebody else saying, rewatching Starship Troopers right now, Rico is functionally retarded. Rico gets a 35% on his final math exam. You can't say he's wrong about that. He's a poor judge of character. You sort of can't say he's wrong about that. Every life choice he makes is wrong. He can't make any tactical decisions on his own, and no one particularly likes him except his stalker, meaning Dizzy, of course, who he also didn't appreciate, but at the same time, she was a redhead. You know how that is. But she does get killed. He says after finishing Starship Troopers, Rico did become competent and confident grunt by the end, still incapable of independent thought, but at least he was a hero. I say, so the movie does have a happy ending. But in response to the beginning, 35 on math exam, poor judge of character, can't make any decisions on his own, my brother said, so basically an ideal military recruit. That's kind of what they want, people who will follow orders. And if you're not good at math, you have a good choice in following. If you're just good at following orders, I mean, that helps. I know the military says they don't want people who can't think for themselves, but they'll take people who can't think for themselves either, and that's okay. That's all right. Here's another Daka quote tweet from Me Medic Sissy Fist, as we used to call Tank Sissy Fist. If he was a Greek myth, that's what his name would be. But actually says Verhoeven, of course, is the girl who gets mocked in the classroom, which I think is the exact page that made him quit reading the book. Anyone who thinks militaries are inherently evil deserves equal mockery. And let's read this page of the book. Fathers of Carthage would be glad to know that. Why doesn't your mother tell them so? Or why don't you? Woo. They had tangled before. Since you couldn't flunk the course, it wasn't necessary to keep Mr. Dubois buttered up. She said shrilly, "You're making fun of me. Everyone knows that Carthage was destroyed." And he says, "You seem to be unaware of it," he said grimly. Dumbledore said grimly. "Since you do know it, wouldn't you say that violence has settled their destinies rather thoroughly?" See, that's another thing that's important is it's, I guess you could even say bad media literacy to read this and think, oh, therefore he's saying violence is good. But even in the movie, the Michael Ironside's character, I don't think he was named Dubois. He was just called Michael Ironside. But he was saying that it solved their problems. That somebody's problem got solved, but more specifically, settled their destinies. It was conclusive. It was just the reality of the situation is that violence did conclude things. And he continues saying, "However, I was not making fun of you personally. I was heaping scorn on an inexcusably silly idea." This sounds like, Heinlein, are you just putting your speech of you into this book? You know what I think about writers who do that? They're pretty cool. I'm for it. I morally approve, not just personally. Because, I mean, my personal opinion, what does that matter? It doesn't. But this? Oh boy. Something. Anyways. I was heaping scorn on an inexcusably silly idea, a practice I shall always follow. Anyone who clings to the historically untrue and thoroughly immoral doctrine that violence never settles anything. Notice he says settles and not merely solves, but specifically settles. I would advise to conjure up the ghosts of Napoleon Bonaparte and the Duke of Wellington and let them debate it. The ghost of Hitler could referee, and the jury might well be the dodo, the great auk, and the passenger pigeon. Violence, naked force, has settled more issues in history than has any other factor, and the contrary opinion is wishful thinking at its worst. Whoa. Getting a little judgy. Hey, pal. You getting a little judgy there? Breeds that forget this basic truth have always paid for it with their lives and freedoms. He sighed, last sigh even. Another year, another class, and for me, another failure. One can lead a child to knowledge, but one cannot make him think. Suddenly he pointed his stump at me. Me? Where? What? Who? What? Oh. Oh, wait. I'm reading words on a book. Hold on a second. I got a little too engaged in the narrative. I had a little too much literary narrativeness. Yeah, I don't know. Who cares? What is the moral difference in any of it? And then, again, most of this is pretty much just the exact scene. Wow, I should have just played that instead, but here's my point. Daka says, you need to read Starship Troopers. There's a reason that all the communist-backed Hollywood cash in the world couldn't make people hate the human ideals of morality, self-sacrifice for your community, and the will of the spirit against an overwhelming force portrayed within. And I think that is worthwhile. And you know what? It was also worthwhile is this bell curve here, where very dull. The only good bug is a dead bug. This delightful guy from the movie. And then right in the middle, smack dab in the middle, of the IQ score is actually Starship Troopers is a satirical skewering of the jingoism of the military-industrial complex while lampooning the xenophobia and right-wing nationalists and then we just go to very bright, the only good bug is a dead bug. Giga Chad with helmet. Thank you, Giga Chad. Here also, this is from today. A lot of the other tweets are from a couple days ago. And then this from today, Tilo says, the invertebrates have found the Starship Troopers discourse. And here's him getting a DM from someone saying, why are you having a breakdown because your favorite media is leftist? And then apparently from the person who said that to them and then blocked him anyways, which is something I'm definitely very familiar with from pretty much any Comicsgate supporter. But also I replied saying, sorry, sweaty. The soulless insects are actually the good guys. Who could be behind this post? An actual figurine for the movie. You can even see the hinges on the legs there. Well, this one. Oh, I'm circling it with a cursor. You can't see that, though. That's your fault, though. That's not my fault. Right? And then I, of course, added text to it. Actually, Earthlings were evil Nazis and Starship Troopers learned some media literacy. Which I personally, my answer to learn some media literacy is no. No. Here's also, for some reason, a screenshot of a tweet, but that's fine. Panky, is that a furry? Whatever. I love that Paul Verhoeven tried to make 3 Western-style action films critiquing Western-style action films, and all he managed to do was Alan Moore himself by making 3 of the greatest, most loved action films ever. I mean, that's the thing about American action movies, is that they're kind of impossible to satirize. There was I forget if it was Godard, the French director from the French New Wave in the 60s, who said, and this is maybe a little too basted with red sauce pills, but or red sunglasses from They Live pills. But he said it's impossible to make an anti-war film because all films make war look exciting. That's like pretty sweet. And then they did make actual good anti-war films that make war look bad, but it's only after he said that. So isn't that interesting? I think this is kind of funny here is existential comics, are they? Starship Troopers discourse. Discourse is funny because it reveals how fascism is the only ideology so stupid. Can't even realize it's wow, how come they're talking in that voice? That's not me doing that. I'm not doing that. Why would I do that? I would be very biased if I were to do something like that. But it says, when Ayn Rand parodies socialists and Atlas Shrugged, you don't see socialists saying no is about something else. They just say she's wrong. And this was retweeted by Gayest Tone. Yeah, it sure was. Here also, somebody else clearly had the same idea, probably before I did. Halo fans joining the rank of 40K fans and Starship Trooper fans in sarcastic sneer quotes and embracing alien genocide good. Despite that being the opposite, and just again, who could be behind this post? I think we know the answer. Michael Poe saying, so many people this week have unironically claimed the guy who made Showgirls and is famous for putting a camera up Sharon Stone's coochie. Totally made a complex, subtle satire of fascism and wasn't just a bullshit he spewed in interviews to make his Army Men vs. Bugs movie sound deep. Maybe a little too deep for me, though. And you know what? I'm against that as well. I do think, here's the thing, I don't think, personally, my opinion could be completely wrong. In fact, I think it's likely that I'm completely wrong about this. But I think that Paul Verhoeven just wanted to put that stuff in just as like almost a window dressing to be like, there can be, he didn't say anything about fascism in the movie. He just showed people looking like that they were, the human race is fascist, but he doesn't frame the bugs as the good guys, and he doesn't even necessarily frame the humans as the bad guys. He shows that the humans engage in, sort of war hysteria and that sort of thing. But he doesn't really even portray it negatively in the movie, aside from just generally goofing on it. You could almost say that Paul Verhoeven wanted to secretly, slyly. In fact, that was one of the criticisms. People were like, this movie's making it look like fascism's a good thing. That was one of the criticisms when the movie came out. Why am I doing this? But, yeah, back when the original movie came out, people just saw it as action flick. And they're like, why do they look kind of like Nazis? And that was it. That was kind of as deep as it went. And that's kind of as deep as it needs to go. And it's entirely possible that that's all Verhoeven even wanted to do. It was like, haha, look, the humans are going to look like fascists. Now, maybe he was trying to make some statement about how Heinlein was a fascist or being fascistic in the movie when he put in the this or the that, or that the original book is too dangerously, disgustingly right wing, something like that. Or it's possible he was like, I was just put it in like this and it makes it look. But at the same time, again, the war looks exciting and crazy. The personal story is generally bland otherwise because it's just supposed to be about the action. So it's possible. I'm not saying I even believe that about Verhoeven. What I'm saying is that I think it's possible Verhoeven did that. And that may have been his intent. I also think that maybe wasn't his intent. I also think it's entirely possible that he didn't even have that much intent. He wanted to just have it as kind of a window dressing to bugs. Maybe he was like, this book is, it's a cool idea for an action flick. I don't know. There may be interviews of him out there saying like, I'm criticizing fascism and satirizing fascism and that kind of shit. Maybe. I haven't watched the interviews because I believe that watching the extra content takes away from the experience of the movie. It's one of the other things. There's a lot more we can say. We talk about this in a lot of our other videos. You subscribe, hit the bell, ring the bell, hit the bell for ringing the bell, and then unsubscribe and unhit the bell. Don't comment. Unsubscribe after you've resubscribed. Then don't hit the bell again. Just one more time. Don't hit the bell. But then also don't. But anyways, we talk about that, on a bunch of our, also on our subscribe star. Instead of all that, go to our subscribe star and give us money for real. I'm not even gonna joke about that. Very sad. I won't even joke. But the topic, the concept of, the storytelling, it was something like, Tilo was saying back there earlier, is that the way to tell a story properly is to include all of the details that a reader or viewer or whoever, whatever medium you have, all the details they need have to be in the story. If you're putting it into a tie-in, spin-off, whatever, you're doing it wrong. You have incorrectly told the story and you are bad at telling stories. I think personally that's something that we know and understand probably better than anyone else you will ever see in the history of YouTube. You should probably be watching this video while you personally are on your knees in worship. We are here today in praise of me, stuff like that. But more importantly than all of that stuff is media literacy is fake. The concept is fake. It doesn't exist. It's a response to people not even knowing that they're being trolled. That's all it is. That's all it's ever going to be. And you should donate to our subscribe star. And one last thing. Speaking of media literacy, here's one of my favorite pieces of media in history. They're just a wonderful classic.
I'm going to Disneyland.
Yes. Let's watch my favorite guy. My favorite movie hero in history has an important message to wrap this up. Yes. Get him, Nixon.
Fuck 'em!
Fuck him!
Fuck 'em! Fuck 'em!
Yes. Do it. 4 more years. 4 more years. I would vote for this guy for at least 7 terms. In fact, I think I will. I'm going to go do that right now. So, make sure to unlike, unshare, don't comment, unsubscribe, don't hit the bell for don't notifications, unlike, and for everyone else in the history of the human race, and especially for everyone in Buenos Aires, should have listened to Shitty Webcomics.